Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy Saturday to every single person out there. And we've got Stephanie B., the General of the Valkyries, in the chat tonight. Prayers going out to Tina, who is on vacation. Hope that she has a very fun and safe vacation and she enjoys all of that time off to herself, and especially on that cruise, which I don't think she's on the cruise quite yet. I believe this was the weekend that she was in the city of New Orleans, my hometown. So hopefully she was able to enjoy some Charlotte oysters and a lot of the other cuisines down there. I'm sure she had a good time, and hopefully she has a wonderful time on the cruise. So once again, thoughts and prayers going her way as she travels, and we have 70B. So make sure you behave for 70B, the Valkyrie, the General of the Valkyrie, tonight, because it is very important you do so. So what is going on? Josue Vegia, what's going on? Mark Lazart's here. U.S. Dutch Kitty, what's going on, U.S. Dutch? We got Shagno Roman, what's going on? Captain Opinion is here. Lothar D, G Monkey 76, Peter Hahn. We got Mikey Martinez, Aiden Vickery, all the way from the UK. From the UKIE. China Man is here. We got Jeremy's fake hair. Slice of Neons is here as well. Mikey Martinez says, I finally got the chance to see Dr. Sleep last night, and it was really good. It was a very solid film. I had someone come back to me, a comment on one of my tweets, and was calling out saying, oh, it's not nearly as good as The Shining. No one was expecting it to be as good as The Shining, right? No one's expecting it to be the next Stanley Kubrick masterpiece, because it's not. But for what it is, it's very solid. For a sequel to a film and to a book, right? I never knew I wanted. I thought it was everything that I could have asked for. I thought it helped to explain a lot of things that were still very confusing about the original Shining film. Also, it creates a lot of new questions too. Is it a perfect film? Absolutely not. It is not a perfect film, but it is a fun film, and that's all that I really ask for, is that as long as you don't go woke and you're good and you're fun and entertaining, then you will get my support. Alex McCarthy says, howdy, Odin, how's it going? Duck Fisney, but at the same time, I'm watching Noelle on Disney Plus with the wife. Well, let me know how that is, because my Asgardians, I have a confession to make, and I don't know how I'm going to make this confession, and I don't know if you'll ever be able to forgive Freya, but Freya is making me buy her Disney Plus. She found out about all of the old school 90s Disney Channel movies on there, all the old school Disney Channel series on there, and she looked at me and she said, well, honey, you know you're buying this for me, right? And I said, and then in my head, Father Christopher Miller was in the background just going, happy wife, happy life, happy wife, happy life. And I was just like, so looks like the mouse wins again, but I wanted to tell you all up front what's going on with that. It was not my choice. I'm dragging my feet along with it, but unfortunately I will not be able to hit the cancel button after the free trial is over, because Freya, just like with Netflix, is tying my hands. Blake A. Hemlo says, it's Odin. What's going on, Blake? How is it going? I can't wait to see the reaction in the chat to that confession. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun comments. John Early says, the Joker got the last laugh. All father, you're damn right I did. As you can tell in the description of this video, we are indeed talking about the Joker box office, which has officially crossed the $1 billion mark. Take that, John Campea. You know what's interesting is that a lot of people that have been following John Campea have at least told me, now I can neither confirm this nor deny this, but I've been told that John Campea has been very, very quiet about Joker, has not talked about the Joker, has not talked about how he was wrong about the movie not making the $1 billion mark. Isn't that interesting? It's really not all that surprising, because that's what these shills do. They shill. When they're wrong, they're just like, okay, whatever. They don't take any responsibility for it. They don't apologize for it. They don't correct their record, right? You know, when people in the group that I'm a part of, right, when we make mistakes, we say, hey, I made a mistake. Just recently, I made a mistake on the channel when talking about the initial record that Joker made. I said it was the highest grossing comic book movie of all time. And in reality, it was just the highest percentage-wise based off of comparing how much it made to its budget. So I was wrong on that, and I had to correct myself. I had to correct the record on that, and I took responsibility. So John Campea, this is for you, good sir. I know you're probably not watching this. I know that you don't have time for little old me, or what used to be little old Geeks and Gamers, which has now surpassed you, so enjoy that. But at the same time, man, maybe you could at least come out and say, hey, I was wrong. You could say you were wrong, okay? Joker made the $1 billion. It was always going to make the $1 billion as soon as that opening weekend numbers came in. As soon as the opening weekend came out, that's when a lot of us started to say, okay, this film is making a lot more than we thought it was going to make. It is definitely now within the area that it's if it keeps the pace up, right? It had a strong starting pace. If it kept the pace up, it would have crossed the $1 billion mark, and look where we are now. The film still has at least another 2-3 weeks in theaters, and it's already made $1 billion. And it'll make more than that. There's a chance you could see it get close to $1.1 billion. Now, I think that might be stretching a little bit because it has slowed down a lot, but still, $1 billion for a $55 million production budget? Yeah. It's amazing, too, because this is now the second time in the past year that you've been wrong about a film, at least when it comes to how much money it's going to make, because you were also wrong about Aquaman when you said, that film will never make $1 billion, and it come out in December. And I remember when that comment came out and you said, oh, the film's coming out in December, and that's terrible. And I thought to myself, you do realize that some of the biggest movies of the year come out in December. If you were to ask me what are the two biggest seasons for movies, it would be summer at number one, because I would definitely say summer still holds king when it comes to box office. But then Christmas time also is an incredibly strong season. That's the reason why January sucks, because once December ends and you have all of the other movies that come out in January, the studios know that January is one of the slowest months of the year. That's why you get some of the worst movies of all time that get January releases. If anyone's ever wondered why all the movies in January suck, that's the reason why. Because there's already so few people going to the theater, you won't be able to tell, oh, it's a flop, and they could just go, oh, well, it came out in January, so of course, they can use excuses to try and make everything up. But man, oh man, just admit that you were wrong. Joker made $1 billion. And it made it a lot more easily than you thought it was going to make. I like how he started to change his tune towards the end of it too, saying, oh, I'm not saying that it can't make it. I just don't think it will. Okay, sure enough. Okay, I've made mistakes before. You got to own up to them. If you're going to be in this business, and I'm speaking like someone that has experience, I really don't. Again, I'm just a dude. I am just a dude talking to a camera. That's all I am. I don't have all of the fancy production design behind the scenes. I don't have someone reading my super chats and getting them collected together. I don't have a co-host. I don't have all those things that you have, John. Mr. Campia. Should I call you Mr. Campia? Should I just call you John? I don't know. But what I do have is the integrity to admit when I'm wrong. What I do have is the integrity to not totally go after an entire fan base because they don't like a film, rightly so. So I guess that means that I'm in a much better place than you are right now. And I am fine with that. I have 74 people watching. You know what? That's awesome. Because it's not about the numbers. It's not about the cash. It's not about any of that other stuff that maybe you're obsessed with. It's about having fun. And it's about being honest. Be honest, sir. Be honest. All right, we got a super chat coming in from Tevio Stoback. Thank you very much for the super chat. Says, the Snyder Cut will be announced tomorrow. I would not get your hopes up. The reason why is this. I talked about this with my friend, the good John Flickinger, over on the Flickpick channel. Go check him out. Good dude. And we don't think that it even exists. And the reason why is this. And please explain if I'm wrong on this point. But Zack Snyder did not direct all of that movie, meaning that there are certain things that were not shot that maybe he originally wanted to get shot. That would mean that they would have to go back and reshoot or shoot scenes that were never actually shot in the first place. So there is no magical Snyder cut that exists as far as what he planned for the movie because he didn't get to finish that vision. And no studio is going to go back and say, oh yeah, here's another $30 million. Go ahead and finish the movie that you want. So, I mean, I could be wrong on that, but last time I checked, in order for you to get an actual Zack Snyder cut and not just to me, we explained it as being equivalent to what they did with Blade Runner, right? There was a director's cut of that movie. Guess what? Ridley Scott was not involved in that process. He did not sign off on that cut. That's why the final cut is the best cut, because that's actually his vision. That's the one that he signed off on. In my opinion, if you get any type of quote-unquote Zack Snyder cut, it's going to be one that, yeah, he might talk about, but it's not going to be the so-called vision that he had from the beginning because it wasn't shot. And if it's not shot, if it's not in the can, you can't do anything with it. And they're not going to go back to refilm it. I'm very sorry to say that, but that's what the truth. Tech Guy, thank you for the $2 super chat, says, Mandalorian gives hope, run times making me worried. Now, Mandalorian has given me a lot of hope, too. That's in the title as well. Mandalorian has been very solid so far. I think that the criticisms of the show have been very well-founded. The runtime is very concerning to me as well because it's only 8 episodes, and you had one episode that was only 27 minutes long that really should have been attached to the previous episode. And you also just have still so many problems and questions, like why did they have to do the training montage with him on the little creature thing when he has shown that he could have just walked there? He didn't have to go through that. He could have just walked to the complex. And there's so many other ways that they could have gone about it, right? So it's questions like that that leave you scratching your head saying, wait a minute, why did they do it this way? Why did they go about doing that? But then at the same time, you've got beautiful visuals. You've got amazing cinematography, great, strong direction. I would even say good writing. I know that the dialogue has been very limited, but you don't need to have a lot of dialogue to have a good, overall visual screenplay, right? I think for the most part, it's been very well put together so far. Not to mention, you got one of the cutest new creatures in Baby Yoda. And yes, I'm going to say Baby Yoda. And if Ryan, if you're watching this, if RK Outpost is watching, please get triggered, sir. Because I'm going to call it Yoda, Baby Yoda, not Baby Yoda species. But no, it's been a great show so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. HyperNext13, what's going on, my good sir? Jace Doe says, greetings, Batman style. Greetings. Odin. Thank you, Jace Doe. And Jace Doe, I just got your digital copy codes for the movies you sent me, so thank you very much, man. I'll go through those at some point and put those together. China Man says, Ford v Ferrari is great. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Check out my review over on the Welcome to Asgard channel. I did a vlog review over on that channel, and yeah, I liked it a lot. I actually gave it a solid A. I'm leaning more towards an A- though, in retrospect. And the only reason why is not because the movie's bad or has any flaws. It's just because it's not rewatchable. I personally don't feel the need to watch it again. So I can appreciate it's a very well-made film. I enjoyed the hell of it. I had a great time. I laughed. I felt emotional. Like, there's so many different things that happen in the movie that are done very well. Not to mention an incredible performance from both Christian Bale and Matt Damon, right? Who would have thought I've been talking about Matt Damon giving a great performance, right? But I don't feel the need to go see it again or to ever see it again for that matter. So I can say it's a good movie, but not rewatchable, and that's why I'm stuck in that A- because it's a solid made film, but just not a rewatchable one. Sasha Neon says, Odin's alive! Hashtag Beret played the never. Beret played the never? Oh, yeah. Yes, Slicer. I forgot that from last stream. I forgot. Oh, that's fantastic. So Chris Stanley, who donated at the end of the last stream that we did 4 days ago, his name is actually still listed. If you look over, I can't do directions. If you look over, where is it? Over here? Right here. You see this little box right here? You'll see Chris Stanley. So he donated at the end of his stream, and he says, Hail Odin, Beret played the never. And he was trying to say better late than never, but because of... because of spell check or because of autocorrect, it ended up spelling out Beret played the never. Hashtag Beret played the never. Absolutely, Slicer. Thanks for reminding me of that. Dion says, all is well flying in space this evening while listening. Cheers to you, sir. Well, thank you, Dion. Have a good flight. Orange Hat Reviews says, how are ya? Did a lot of helping the landlady. Now chilling watching a great stream. Yours. Well, thank you, Orange Hat. I appreciate that very much. Hope everything is going well with the landlady. All right, I would still call her a landlord. Nicolito says, not sure if you want to discuss this during the chat, but how much are you following the changes coming to YouTube? It seems they want to purge all small channels. What will happen to OMB? A very good question, Nickel Noodles. Yeah, I'm quite concerned for it in some capacity. I'm concerned because I don't want them to shut the community down. I don't want them to shut the dialogue down. I don't want them to shut down these amazing streams that we have twice a week. And that is what I'm more concerned about, right? If they take monetization away, I'll get by, right? That stuff. People like Geeks and Gamers and some of the bigger channels where they do it full time, those are the ones that I'm more concerned with that. But the thing I'm most concerned with our channel is not having access to you guys, not having access to the community. So I'm definitely concerned about that to some extent. How concerned am I? I'm really not all that concerned because we don't really push the boundaries all that much. I keep the shows very PG. I keep the videos very PG as well. The worst things that I say are damn or ass hat. Like, those are like the worst things I say. And as I always try and say, you know, the word ass itself is in scripture. So if it's good enough to be in the Bible, then I'm comfortable enough saying it on a live stream, right? So I think that we'll be okay when it comes to those types of things. But I am concerned that if they do try and, as you say, purge smaller channels, well then, hey, that's the reason why I'm currently being mirrored over on DLive. And DLive fam, I see you all over there. I see all of you over there, DLive fam. And we got Captain Dean Heiss over there. He says, I'm wrong, you're wrong, we're all wrong, says Captain Dean Heiss. So I got my DLive fam, so if we ever needed to, we could transfer to DLive. There are other streaming services that we could as well. BitChute, I think, is playing around with some streaming services as well. So we would be able to get through. It would just be a difficult process. And as I said, the worst thing they could do is have me lose access to you guys. That's why I recommend you follow me on places like Twitter. You follow me on Gab. You follow me on Minds. You follow me on any social media platform that I'm available on, because that way, if something ever were to happen, you would have access to me, and also you would be able to find out places that we would, if we had to move, where we would be going to, when we would be going to it, etc. So yeah, definitely something that it's in my head, it's in my mind, and it's not totally out of place to talk about that on this stream, because it is something that I think a lot of YouTubers are rightly so very concerned about. Let's see. All right, chat jumped on me. What else is new? Let's see here. All right, chat jumped on me, unfortunately. So I'm at 703 in the chat. Very sorry if any chats were skipped. But Laura says, so happy for Joker. I am too. I'm so excited the film has crossed the $1 billion mark at this point. I can't wait to see how much it ends with. And I can't wait to do the math down the line to see how much money it made opening weekend percentage-wise. Because I've mentioned this beforehand, that most films tend to make around 60% of their entire box office in the first 2 weeks. There's a chance you could see a closer 50-50 split with Joker, because the legs on the film were so strong that it ended up making around $500 million or so towards the end stretch. So it's very exciting news. Alice McCarthy says, I forgive you if I am forgiven for watching Captain Marvel. Hated it. Hated it. It was McClunky, and Noelle is adorable so far. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Anna Kendrick, I know, is in that film, so it's one that I probably will watch with the wife as well when we get closer to the Christmas season. And of course, Alex, you're forgiven, man. You know this. Sisa Neon says, if Lady Freya is making you sell your soul to the mouse, you better get something good out of it. Quid pro quo. I recommend a baby climate change be hanged. Oh, Slicer. Well, it takes two to tango, or something like that, as they say. Love you, man. Or Chat Review says, there's nothing to forgive. It's the wife's choice. Hashtag happy wife, happy life. Indeed. Yeah, gone are the days when I was, a single man. I could just do whatever I wanted and, boycott whatever I wanted. Now it's, if we're not both on the same side, it's craziness. Bruce says, I understand the only reason why we still have cable TV, I want to unplug, he says, is because my wife has a few shows she will not do without. Oh, Bruce, yeah, I hear that. That's the same reason I could live without Netflix. I could get around not having Netflix. But she lives and breathes by a couple of shows on there. So that's a big no-no. That's a big, big no-no. Let's see. Captain Wingster says, Odin, don't blame your wife. You're the one who wanted to keep Disney Plus, and you're using her as a scapegoat. There he is. There's the troll, Captain Wingster. No, not at all. I was fully planning on canceling the free trial, and then I told her, and she's like, no, you're not. I was like, what? Yes, honey. Aiden Vickery says, having thought long and hard for 30 seconds to divorce her, God will understand. That's terrible. Aiden, that's terrible, man. I know that's a joke, but oh my goodness, that's really bad. Oh my Lord. And Captain Dean Heist, no, ass hat is not in the Bible. Ass is in the Bible. So all I'm doing is adding hat to it. So no, ass is, because obviously an ass is a jackass is a donkey, right? Captain Dean Heist says, have a shot every time. Odin says, chat jumped on me. I don't think I'd make it through oh no, you wouldn't make it through, because it happens like every 10 minutes or so. Oh man. Mark Lazar says, how many streaming services do/will you have now? So that means we'll have Netflix, D Plus, and also Hulu. So Netflix, D Plus, and Hulu. And I think there's some type of bundle for Disney Plus Hulu that we might have to end up getting. But yeah, we're talking about our finances pretty soon, so we'll see what can be on the chopping block and what can't be on the chopping block. Mikey Martinez says, he said that Aquaman wouldn't make $1 billion, and look what happened. Yeah, seriously, it is the highest grossing DCEU film. Like, Mikey, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he's like, oh, it's not going to make $1 billion. It's not going to do well financially. It's not going to do well at all. It's Christmas time. It can't do well. And it's like, what are you talking about? Christmas is a big time of you realize that Star Wars movies have come out for Christmas for the last several years, and all of them have made over $1 billion, the ones that came out over Christmas. So I don't know what you were thinking, man. I don't know what was in your head at that time, John Campia, but apparently it wasn't a brain. Let's see. Dion says, no worries, my friend. I have Disney Plus access for the next 3 years, but I didn't pay for it. My daughter did for the grandkids. That's awesome, Dion. Yeah, and that's probably what a lot of people are going to end up having, is it's going to be like family accounts. Darkness says, to be fair, I don't think the $1 billion club should be that special. Yeah, you would think so, but then you think about how many films have actually reached that number, and it's not many. It's not also, we must keep this in mind always. Just because a film makes $1 billion does not mean it's a good movie. There are Transformers films in that club. There's Alice in Wonderland that is in that club as well. So Captain Marvel is in that club, right? So just because you make $1 billion does not mean you're a good film. What's great to me, and the reason why I'm celebrating it for Joker, is because no one expected it to make that much. Warner Brothers put nothing into it. They put $55 million into it. That's nothing in today's Hollywood standard. Keep in mind, Ford v. Ferrari that just came out this weekend had a budget of around $98 million, like almost $100 million for that film. Joker had about half of that. So just keep that in mind. Joker is going to have more money than Ford v. Ferrari does. Like Ford v. Ferrari is going to be probably like a $500-600 million or so. I'll have to wait till the actual numbers come out to give an official estimate on that. But it's going to be $100 million worth, several $100 million of profit. But Joker hit the $1 billion. And that just goes to show you that good films that have a lot of passion behind it, right? The fans love. We can push a film to $1 billion. You give us the motivation and we can do it. Dory the Hobbit says, your thoughts on Cleveland Browns Myles Garrett banned for hitting Mason Rudolph with a helmet? Yeah, I'm not much of a sports person, but I saw that video. The man should be fired for sure. He should be fired. He could have killed that guy. And to be honest, I think it brings about a much larger commentary about football. And I know that there's people out there that love football. I'm one of the persons that says, do we really still need it? Because all I see are a bunch of overpaid asshats that are trying to kill each other. And in all likelihood, will give each other enough concussions to where the point where they do start killing each other. And I don't see the point in it. That's just me. China Man says, I'm going to see Knives Out and Motherless Brooklyn next week. If you see them, what's your thoughts about them? Yeah, so Knives Out comes out next weekend. I'm not going to pay to see that, allegedly. Because screw Rian Johnson. That's one decision I can definitely make on my own because my wife doesn't have any desire to see it and I have no desire to see it. So let's just say it's going to probably be seen at some point so I can talk about it, but no cash will go to Rian Johnson's hands, allegedly, of course. Motherless Brooklyn, I had a chance to see the other day, but I decided to see Ford v. Ferrari instead. It got a lot of mixed reviews and it's a very, very long film. So I do want to see Motherless Brooklyn at one point in time. I have no intention to see Knives Out, but I think I have to just so that I can talk about it on the channel. Laura says, Aquaman made more than $1 billion. It made $1 billion. It's like that's like one of those old school like dad jokes. That's like the king of dad jokes. Oh, I made $1 billion. Venom Broly says, $1 billion, it's $999,979 more than I have in the bank, says Venom Broly. As it does all of us. Micah Martinez says, December 2021 is looking crowded for films. We have the release of Avatar 2 and Black Adam. Yeah, and Christmases are going to become very crowded in this new age of Disney, where it has all of these movies pre-announced. And as I mentioned before, John Campia, Christmas is a very good time to release movies because a lot of films make good money at that time. Maybe not as much as summer, but it's like a mini summer almost, right? There's a lot of people that are off for work, for school. So there's a lot of people that want to go see films. Also, you're spending time with family. Some people have traditions where they'll go to the theater on Christmas. They'll only go a few times a year, and Christmas is one of those times that they go. That's why films come out during the Christmas season. It seems to be logical sense, but apparently some people don't understand that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Micah Martinez. All I can tell you is that Avatar 2 will not be on the list of films that I will be wanting to see because I don't like Avatar. Slicer Neon says, January, the hangover of the December all-night rave. Slicer, that's a great way of explaining it, and that is absolutely true. January is amazing. Go ahead and look up films that come out in January, and you'll see, yeah, you're right. These are some of the worst films of the year. Now, there have been exceptions, right? It's not the rule, but there have been exceptions to that, but it's usually pretty straightforward. Mike Martinez says, Warner Brothers released the Snyder Cut. How would it affect the future of the DCEU? It wouldn't, because the Snyder Cut would most likely be declared non-canon. And as I said, I don't think there is one. In order for them to have it, based on what I know about it, they would need to go back into filming, and they're not going to do that. So that's what I've heard at this point. Captain Wingster says, Odin, we're all part of your imagination, and you're just chatting to a blank screen. Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? That'd be fascinating. That'd be a great movie. Blake Hemlow says, what's your thoughts on The Mandalorian? So far, I think it's going to get better and better. Well, it's hard to tell what the future of it's going to be, but as I mentioned in the very beginning of the show, I love Mandalorian. I think it's very solid. Is it the best thing ever? No. Are there a lot of flaws? Yes, there are a lot of flaws with it. It's not perfect, and I think the thing that gets a lot of us mad, and the reason why I think a lot of more people in the Phantom Menace are not completely on board with it, is because we don't trust Disney. We don't trust Disney to run Lucasfilm, and that's a good thing because there's no reason for us to trust them. They've not given us a reason to trust them. Mandalorian is the only good Star Wars that we've had since Rebels from Disney Star Wars. Like, I know some people might argue, oh, Rogue One, but I'm sorry, pish posh, patooey. The only memorable part of that film is a scene they added in at the last minute because they realized we have no memorable scenes, and that was the Darth Vader one. So, patooey, I spit at you. So basically, and I know not everyone likes Rebels, but patooey, Rebels is fine. But yeah, so we haven't had anything really great since Rebels, in my opinion, from Disney Star Wars, right? From Disney run Star Wars. And so Mandalorian is the first thing we've had since then, and that's been a long time, right? I mean, I know that the last season of Rebels didn't end that long ago, but when you look to the beginning of that show and all the stuff that's happened, it's from the beginning, essentially, of Disney's takeover. It's not been good for Star Wars. So I'm taking The Mandalorian with a giant grain of salt because it could get bad very, very quickly. Grandmaster Yoda says, Shill Media, December is bad time to show you film. Me, when did Avatar come out? In December. Laura says, did you hear about the cutting-edge visual effects they are using on The Mandalorian? Allows for cheaper shooting. I did not. I know they were doing some what's the term for it? I know they've been using a lot of practical effects, and that usually will save you a lot of time as well. Not just, it's amazing that practical effects oftentimes cost less than visual effects. I guess it makes sense when you realize how many different places visual effects have to go before you get the final product. That's a lot of hands on it. That's a lot of, people having to be paid, right? When you deal with practical effects, you just pay the person to make it and then you film it, right? So I think that it makes a lot of sense, but from what I can tell, that's probably the reason why it doesn't cost nearly as much, because they are using a lot of practical effects instead. She also says, I assume Mandalorian's short episodes are a nod to old Western serials like The Rifleman and Bonanza that were half hour. I have spoken. Yeah, I know you have spoken. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that argument before, but I really don't. The reason why I don't buy it is because, well, we're not in that era anymore. We're in a very different era of television and streaming service television at that. And it's weird for you to have it. And the biggest problem too is that you had one episode that was about 37 minutes. The next episode was about 27 minutes. If you were 30 minutes every single week, then you could have a point. If you were around the same amount of time, but that's like a 10-minute difference. That to me shows discrepancy. That shows, in my opinion, a lot of not really knowing what's going on. And I would not be surprised if originally the first two episodes were one episode and they thought, oh, we need to make more episodes, so let's just cut it off here and turn this into a different episode. Because even when you look at it from an objective point of view, you say, yeah, this really does feel like something that should be directly attached to the previous section that we got to. And I think it would have been a much better first episode had those first two parts been together. So Yeah, I agree. I understand where you're coming from, but also that would mean they would have to be consistent, and they have not been consistent yet at this point. Hybrid says, if we can have a baby Yoda, I want to see a baby Jar Jar Binks. Could you imagine a baby Jar Jar Binks? Bruce says, it's a yodel. Rob D says, what movies can you always rewatch? Back to the Future trilogy. I can always rewatch those. I personally love Whiplash of recent times. Dark Knight, I could rewatch. Joker, I can rewatch right now. Parasite, I can rewatch. There's plenty of other films, too. It's a Wonderful Life, I watch every single Christmas. Casablanca, I watch at least once a year. 12 Angry Men, I watch at least once a year. Serendipity, not a great film, objectively, but I love it. It's a classic Christmas movie in my home, and I watch that one every year, too. So I would say that one is also rewatchable. Delicious water. China Man says, I didn't give a film 4.5 out of 5 since 2016. 2019 so far is great. Might be the best year along with 2014 of the decade. Yeah, I'd have to actually go through each year to be able to speak definitively on that, but it has been pretty strong. John Doe, I teach religion. Mikey Martinez says, there's some movies that aren't really that rewatchable, like Nolan's Dunkirk. I really enjoy that film, but it's just not a movie you watch 1 or 2 times. Yeah, I agree, and that's one of the reasons why I have a problem with Dunkirk. It's so funny, Jeremy's obsessed with that movie, and I always say, it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. It's just not a great film. It's a film that's well shot, that's well put together, but I don't have a need to watch it again. And that, to me, should be a factor in grading a movie. That's why I liked a lot Ford v. Ferrari, but it's not rewatchable. So I might have to push it down to the A- instead, right? Makes sense to me. Gmungus76 says, while the soundtrack isn't that good, some of it reminds me of Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name westerns. I still will not forgive Disney Star Wars movies. No, and I won't either. And I think that anyone that still feels that way is totally justified, because until now, we have not had anything to be excited for Star Wars related. You know, we have this. We have, of course, still to look forward to the Clone Wars Season 7. We have, for me, people like me, Rebels is up there too. So we haven't had a whole lot to be excited for in Disney Star Wars. And so we have, I think, every right and ability to be very cautious, I'm optimistic about this. I'm a cynical person. And if I'm optimistic, that speaks volumes. But I'm cautiously optimistic because we know what they've done before. We know that there's more character arcs coming. We know that there have been some actors that have made commentaries on the episodes being political. I'm hoping that was just him saying, oh, but like a typical political that most films and TV tend to get into. Not 2019 politics, but just typical political plot points, right? Going to the prequels. Prequels were political. They dealt with government agencies, right? But it wasn't political, if you know what I mean. I think there's a difference between the two. So if it's the first kind, where it's more like Clone Wars, or not Clone Wars, more like the prequels, more like just traditional cinema that have certain political story arcs, but not modern politics, not identity politics, then it'll be fine. And that's what I'm hoping the actor was trying to get across, was it was that kind and not the nonsense we've been getting a lot of in 2019. That's for damn sure. But yeah. Tracy Turner, thank you very much for the $5 super chat, says, hello, Odin, unsubscribed from John Campia. He just backpedaled about Joker on his show. Did you get the screenshots of the package I mailed? Oh, Tracy Turner, are you the one that sent me the letter? I showed that on the last stream. I don't have access to it right now, but if you sent me the letter with the stickers on it, I showed that on the last stream. I don't have access to it now, but thank you for sending that my way, man. I appreciate it. And wow, so John Campia is live right now apparently, and he just backpedaled. Well, did he say he was wrong? Tracy, let me know in the general chat. You don't have to super chat me. Unlike John Campia, I will not only read super chats. Take that, John Campia. I will not just read super chats on the channel, but make sure you tag me correctly on the main chat. Just put Odin question, all one word, and then I will get to you. But GMonkey76, getting to your comment once again. Yeah, the music to me in the second episode was much better. My biggest problem with it was the fact that the first episode, I can't remember a single tone, but I can remember more of the second episode. So I think if it continues to go in that direction, it'll be a little bit better. Laura Ryan stole my fanfiction story, says, I thought the Yiddish baby Yoda thing was hilarious. It really was. Peter Han says, can you lend me $15 to see Charlie's Angels? Hell no. No, I would not give you money to see that garbage. Micah Martinez, I'm really enjoying The Mandalorian, but the runtime is concerning. It is. It is very concerning. Cupcake Geek says, hello, good sir. It's annoying Disney Plus isn't coming to the UK for a while. I'm glad that you like The Mandalorian. Yeah, and I feel very sorry for everyone out there that doesn't have access to the show, but it also explains why it's one of the most pirated shows of all time, because you're not having it available to the, to the vast populations. You would think that they would have at least offer an alternative to people that don't have access to it, so that way they don't have to steal it. I guess they could say, oh, get a VPN, but then I think that's kind of also going against, I don't know. But yeah, I'm hoping you get access to it in some way, one way or another. One way or another. That was a random segue. All right. Shout out to Kathleen Heiss. Chat jumped on me once again. Looks like a couple of chats may have been skipped. Very sorry about that. So Slicer Neons at 7:16 p.m. says, any opinion on the Game Freak lied incident? Makes me rethink buying Pokemon Sword Shield. I usually buy day one, but no plans to get it now. I don't know what they lied about, because it was always clear that, is that about the National Pokedex missing from it? Because I thought that was already known beforehand. I've been playing through Pokemon Sword. I generally like it so far. The tutorial bits are just annoying as usual in a lot of these Pokemon games, right? You have to go through the tutorials and you can't skip them or anything like that, even if you know how to play already. But the wild area is very, very cool. My biggest concern, or my biggest problem with it, is that you go against higher level Pokemon in that area and then you can't catch them. It says, oh, this level, you have to get a certain badge in order to catch a Pokemon of a certain level. And I'm like, no. It should be Pokemon you train. It should be Pokemon you train. And, Lord almighty. Tracy Turner. Oh, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, no, I didn't send the letter. Oh, Tracy Turner. Okay. So you said package. Did you mean DM or email? Because if so, then yes. You said package, and so that's why I got confused. So Tracy, I'm sorry about that, but I think I did. I think yes, because I got it from somebody, so I'm assuming I got it from you. So thank you for sending that my way. So yeah, he sent me the video which showed John Campea saying clearly, oh yeah, it's not going to make $1 billion. Well, look where it is now. But Slicer, getting back to your comment, yeah, I'm overall liking Sword right now. Is it something you have to go out and grab right away? I would say no. I think you could save your money and wait for it to get a little bit cheaper. Black Friday's coming up. Who knows if they're going to have a deal on it, because I don't think it's going to be selling all that well, to be honest. There's been a lot of controversy around this release, and so my hope is that they release a DLC and they are able to patch and fix some of these issues. I think that adding a National Pokedex would be just a very small matter for them to do, a little bit of code for them to add. So we'll see. We shall see. Cupcake Geek says, I'm collecting Funko Pops now. I know. Oh, no. The Alita Battle Angel one is one that I can recommend. Slash Neon says, so fill out her dance card. Are you not the All-Father? What? Hi, Princess. Who are your favorite characters of 2019? Mine are Arthur Fleck, Kiwoo, John Wick, Cliff Booth, and Effin Winslow. Or Ethan Winslow. I think all of those are great characters. I don't... I couldn't even... If I tried to do that, we'd be here all night, because my brain doesn't work that way. But all of those characters are great. Catherine Wingster says, Odin, imagine my surprise, but Geeks and Gamers did an actual gaming stream. My mind was blown. Also, Jeremy and Uche had a glorious debate on Man of Steel. I wish you were there. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, we've been trying to. There have been a lot of things. So there have been a lot of things going on. Let me see. I'm just distracted by something. We've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. So Mark the Cyborg is part of the team. He's been doing a lot of streaming on his channel. So it's been a lot of practicing to try and get everything ready for like prime time, basically. So we are starting to try and do a lot more gaming content on the channel. So expect more content like that. And oh man, I can only imagine what that debate had. But case in point, Jeremy's probably right, because yeah, y'all all know my opinion about the DCEU for the most part. At least when it was under the reign and terror of Zack Snyder. Tracy Turner, thank you for the $2 super chat, says, in your Instagram message, mailed it today. Okay. I don't know what you mean by male. um, let me double check, because I've been getting. Are you the one that's been messaging me like nonstop? That's not meant to be an attack, but dude, I can only read so many messages on a day. Yeah, I've got so many messages. Oh, so it's a picture of the package. Okay. Cool. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, cool. So the package, it's a picture of the package that's going to be sent to me. Okay. I got very, very confused by that, but thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it, man. Can't wait. Superman Gamer says, "Hey, what is up, my dude? Sorry I'm late. Got an extension on that blasted history assignment I was telling you about, and I'm about trying desperately to finish it." Well, dude, then put the stream on hold and go finish your homework, man. Micah Martinez, HBO Max is looking pretty promising, especially with all the Warner Brothers content. Yeah, it's going to make May very difficult. The wife making me buy this service is going to make that a lot more difficult, because I will probably be wanting to buy that service more so than she. And then we'll have to start making, at that point, have to start making some compromises for sure. Dory DeHubbard says, Alita 2 will never happen because Robert Rodriguez is doing Sin City TV series and Rosa Salazar is doing the Netflix series. Well, you can't say never, because the film already would have taken a couple of years at the very least to make because of the technology involved. It's very unlikely that we'll get one in the next 2 years. There's always a chance, though, because keep in mind, they only recently greenlit the sequel to Live, Die, Repeat, to Edge of Tomorrow. And so that one took a couple of years extra, I think, to actually get the green light to do so. And they're still going to have to film it as well because Tom Cruise is a busy guy. So it's not that it's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. That I can confirm. Aiden Vickery says, Joker got to the club on the merit of the film. Most of the others in the club got there on merit of the marketing. Aiden Vickery, I think that's a great point. Yeah, Joker earned what it, earned its box office revenue, earned the $1 billion because it's a great film. The others have giant corporations behind them, pushing them nonstop, pushing them down people's throats, and also, as I say constantly on the channel, making those deals with the commies over in China and getting guaranteed box office. I would say is, I think it raised a lot of questions about the validity of some of the box offices from previous years. We got people over on DLive. Captain Dean High says, it's Disney, but I watch the Santa Claus movies every year. Those are great films to watch. Absolutely. They're not my films that I want to watch every year, but I've seen them, and they're all very good. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the diamond donation and for the 5 ice cream donations. Captain Mr. Roy dropping those bombs. Thank you very much, good sir. Jay Stowe over on YouTube says, all this Campia talk, is there only one to say... So all this Campia talk, there's only one thing to say, and who is Campia? Yeah, it's someone not worth knowing. He's someone that basically there was a show started on AMC Talk. Y'all all know I'm an AMC person. I worked for AMC for 3 years, which is really not a whole lot of time, but in that 3 years, I ended up really liking the overall group. Are they perfect? No, they're a corporation, but I feel have some. I'm an AMC A-list member. I feel like I have some affiliation, not affiliation, but some dedication to them still as a brand. And there was a time when they started to go into the YouTube streaming game and they would have a show and it was AMC Talk and it was hosted by John Campia. And I remember watching the show and even from the very beginning, I'm like, this dude sucks because it was him and his friends and they were all agreeing with each other nonstop. And I was there yelling at the screen saying, no, put me on. I'll be a dissenting voice. Because they would go on and say, oh, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to think that, I don't think anyone's going to think the alternative. I don't think anyone's going to think differently than we are. And I'm like, right here. Come on, man. But of course, that's a long time ago before YouTube and anything else. So, yeah, I've had issues with him for that long. And in fact, one of my first official videos on this channel was calling out John Campia and his coverage of Solo: A Star Wars Story. So, yeah, I have a personal history with him a long way back. Don't think he knows about it, and I don't care if he knows about it because his channel is dying while other channels like Geeks and Gamers and others are growing and succeeding, and also he's just proving himself to be wrong on a larger platform. Sasha Neon says, who would watch Roundhead's trash when it's a wonderful day and the neighborhood is coming out? That's a great point. Also, you have films like Frozen 2 coming out very soon as well. Yeah, there's a lot of movies coming out that are going to take a lot of attention away from Knives Out. But me personally, if we can get Knives Out, and all this takes is you staying at home. If we can get Knives Out to do Charlie's Angels numbers, I'll be happy. I will be ecstatic. Super Anime Gamer says, just checked, Ford v Ferrari only got 97 million. Wow, I mean, that's a lot, but with the cast, director, and the way the trailers made it look, just assumed it was more. I mean, I think that's actually about right, because yes, it's more of a Oscar bait type film in a lot of ways. It's an Oscar bait type biopic, I would argue. Even with that being the case, it is still very much a high production value, and that's the reason why the number is as high as it is. China Man says, I thought Avatar was good, but a 7 out of 10 film, not that great. And I wouldn't put it that high because the story's terrible. Laura says, so excited for The Mandalorian and what will happen with the BY bounty. Is the Doc and Herzog evil in your opinion? I think they are, because they're obviously Empire. And my guess is that, and this is something I didn't know, but Gigi Candy, who is awesome, by the way, I was on with Gary on Friday Night Tights last night. She was on, and she pointed out something I didn't know, that the Doctor was wearing some Camino lettering. So it seems to indicate that there's going to be some type of cloning, either that young Baby Yoda is a clone, or they're trying to get Baby Yoda to clone the species. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. And as I said, it's great to be excited for the future of Star Wars at this point in time. Mandalorian so far has not let me down there. Laura, thank you for the $5 super chat. She says, for Mandalorian, instead of using green screens, they use HD projections on screens so the actors feel like they are in the Star Wars universe. So cool. That is really cool. And you can tell it just looks so much better, because green screen can always it has that look, it has that tinge to it that just doesn't look authentic. It looks terrible. And Mandalorian doesn't have that. So that's awesome. I did not know they were using HD projections on screens, but it does help to explain a lot, I think. HyperNext13, oh shoot, forgot to say, Princess Mononoke is playing for Ghibli Fest tomorrow. So hyped, would love to see you get a chance to watch it whenever. Yeah, I mean, I would love to watch it at some point too. We'll not have a chance to watch it tomorrow because I know those show times are always set at around 2 and 7 is normally the show times for those, and I have something going on at both of those times. So sadly, we'll not be able to see it. But I can always watch it at another point. Chinaman says, a member of the family brought me to a Blu-ray copy of Sunset Boulevard. My God, how much I love that film. Sunset Boulevard is a classic, and it's fantastic. Grandmaster Yoda says, do you believe the flop of Charlie's Angels will end Elizabeth Banks' jobs as producer, and how bad you think it will drop in second week to Frozen 2? Let me try and just check something really quickly, because I heard someone mention that about Frozen 2. Yeah, so Frozen 2 does indeed come out this Thursday. It's going to drop a fair bit, because most films tend to drop around 50% at least. Tend to. That film, having no one seeing it and being crowded with other films that are coming out next week, I could see it dropping 60, 70%. And if that's the case, it's making about $3 million, less than $3 million next weekend. And if that's the case domestically and it's not doing anything in the foreign market, I mentioned this in my video today, there is a chance that even only costing $40 million, so the new Charlie's Angels cost around $40 million to produce, that even at that cost, it could be a bomb. It could lose money. Most films at that amount, even if they're bad, even if no one sees them, usually break even. There is a chance it's doing that bad, it's doing that poorly, there's a chance that it loses money. And that's sad and pathetic. So yeah, I would say at least 50% drop next weekend. Will it be the end of her as a producer? No, because Hollywood will take care of their own no matter what. Is it the end of her go at the Charlie's Angels franchise? Hell yes. Any person would be an idiot to try and pick this up, because apparently there is a mid-credit scene that helps to solidify a future sequel. The sequel's not going to happen. I can tell you, making $8 million, projected to make $8 million in your opening weekend, no. There's no chance in hell. You have less of a chance of that happening. So Ghostbusters 2016 As bad as that movie was and as bad as that movie did, Ghostbusters 2016 has a better chance. Like 100 times better chance to get a sequel than this film will, based purely on the box office alone. Super Anime Gamer says, Motherless Brooklyn was really good, not great. Norton's direction is great. The cast is killer. It's well written, but the viewing experience can feel passive and it gets slow. See it. Okay, good to hear, Super. Yeah, it's a very long film. I know that much. 70B is spelling out practical effects. Yes. John Early says, All Father, your son Thor made it rain in Minnesota a lot before the Frost Giants came here. It rained in Minnesota. I figured it would have snowed in Minnesota. That's interesting. Slice of Neon says, heard a fun fact that Carl Weathers has a running theme of playing cheapskate characters. Can you confirm? Well, he wasn't a cheapskate much in Happy Gilmore when he played Chubbs. Because he was a professional, a former professional. He wasn't really cheating at anything. So, yeah. I don't know about that. Hardwick Bentho, I don't think Joker making $1 billion just down to it being good. It was good, but it was also riding on the coattails of the Joker's previous popularity and the controversy hype. I would say more to do with your second point, Hardwick. I think that it definitely was helped by the amount of publicity it got from the media. The media outrage and backlash against the film absolutely helped the film. No question about it. But the goodness of the film, the fact that it's a good film also helped too. There's never just one factor that impacts whether something is successful or not, right? We can talk about, and I mentioned this point today, that the reason why Charlie's Angels is going to fail is not just because it's woke. It's not just because of that. It's not just because of identity politics. It's also because, based on everything we've seen, it's not a well-made movie. And that's an objective thing. So there's objective flaws and also subjective issues. When it came to Joker, it's objectively great, so that's going to help, but there's also subjective reasons too. Laura says, The Mandalorian uses green screens, but the CGI images are added at that time of filming. Nice. Harway Bentho, do you plan on watching Midway? Not really. I'm just going to be honest. There's other films I haven't seen that I want to see, and there are films that I want to see again, like Parasite. And then there's Midway. I personally have no real desire to see it. That's not a bash against anyone that liked it. It doesn't really appeal to me all that much. Charzy says, is it just me or has literally everyone watched Will Ferrell's Elf 5,000 times? Probably because it comes on every Christmas, and that is another great movie. Over on DLive, Captain Dean Heiss says, how much more do you think Joker can make, and how about DVD Blu-ray sales? I think it's going to make at least... I'm trying to think. It's going to sell at least 100. It's going to sell at least 1 million copies on Blu-ray. At least 1 million copies on Blu-ray. But let's see, weekly Blu-ray chart. Let me see where. So John Wick would be on the low end. That one's made $22 million, so it's going to make at least $22 million. And I would say... yeah, it's definitely not going to do. So Endgame, which is very much a very well-selling Blu-ray, has made $81.6 million in sales, $65 million on Blu-ray, and that is based off of selling over 2.8 million units, which makes a lot of sense to me. I could see Joker selling around 1.5 to 2 million units, 1.5 to 2 million units, and I think that would mean it would probably make 1.5 to 2 million units. That would mean it'd probably make around $40 to $55 million on Blu-ray and DVD. So it could make more than that for sure. But because we don't have any numbers whatsoever of that film yet, it's hard for me to make a projection. But it's going to make another at least $40, $50 million, I would say, on Blu-ray DVD, which is very good. It's a very good showing, especially, again, for a $55 million produced film. So I think there's a world where by the end of its run, and also adding into account Blu-ray sales, it'll have 1.1 billion. I think that it'll end around 1 billion, 50 million. I think around 50 million. I don't see it getting another 100 million, but it could. There's a world out there where it happens. Just it's slowing down so much. The theater space is really what's going to hurt it because new movies are coming out and it's a natural. It's been out for over 37 days. It's been out like for 35, 36 days now at this point. So for it to be leaving theaters is totally justifiable. I'm not going to be angry at a theater for pulling screens for that movie because it's been out for over a month now. That's what's supposed to happen. So yeah, I think that it'll probably end its box office run at $1.05 billion. We'll make another $50 million in Blu-ray sales, so it'll end around $1.1 billion. That's what my guess would be. Super Anime Gamer says, for anyone who wants to know more or is just an Edward Norton fan, he actually went on Joe Rogan's podcast. It was great. Nice. Joe Rogan has some of the best conversations with people. And that's why I can respect Joe Rogan for that, because he will at the very least talk to anyone. He does not shut anyone out. He will not just hate someone for no reason, and I respect that. Slice of Neon says, I bet those Jawas wish Vader had wanted them alive. No disintegrations. Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Chat jumped on me again, D-Nice. So let's see where we are in the chat. All right, looks like some chats may have been skipped. Very sorry. I blame YouTube. Hashtag YouTube sucks. And hashtag DuckFisney. I'm at 7:35 in the YouTube chat. It's 7:54 where I am. So yeah, I'm about 20 minutes behind, which is about normal. 120 people watching. Thank you so much for watching. Please smash that like button. It means a lot. I'm at 7:35 with Dory the Hobbit. Dory the Hobbit says, I loved Casey Affleck starred, wrote, and directed a movie called Light of My Life. The film reminds me of Cargo, The Road, and Leave No Trace. I love Leave No Trace. Leave No Trace is fantastic. The Road's also pretty good. Cargo I've never seen before. Light of My Life. I do like Casey Affleck. Catherine Wingster says, Odin, I am a John who is rarely wrong, but when I do, I apologize. There you go, Catherine Wingster. And that's why even you as a troll has more honor than John Campea. Riff Magos, hail to you, good sir. J Stowe says, with all the baby talk in the chat, might as well have a Star Wars baby show like they did for Muppet Babies. Oh my goodness gracious. Could you imagine a Star Wars baby show? There is a market out there for that. Just like for Muppet Babies, there was success in that show. I loved Muppet Babies. Tiny Toon Adventures. Do y'all remember Tiny Toon Adventures? That was also a very similar concept. Very successful. It's what I grew up with. And yeah, so it could work. Sasha Neon says, Game Freak said at E3 they cut the national decks to add new and improved animation, but data miners showed they reused a lot of the old ones. Well, I don't need data miners to tell me that, Slicer, because the effects are no better than a 3DS. And that's not to say that the effects are crap, but we are now on a Switch. And the Switch has the capacity for games like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and all of these really amazing games, of which I still need to get Mario Odyssey, but I've already played through and beaten Breath of the Wild. And it's amazing, right? The effects are truly amazing on that console. And so it is really upsetting that they have not done that. So it's cool to have things like the wild area. It's cool to have more behind the scenes stuff that's new and added. However, yeah, I didn't know that. So that's ridiculous. But yeah, my hope is, Slicer, the way if Game Freak wanted to make it up, it would actually be very easy. All they would need to do is say, we're offering everyone that buys it a free DLC, and the DLC is going to offer X amount of Pokemon, or you will get instant access to updates, and every update's going to bring in new Pokemon. That, to me, would be the best way. If you want to make this game a success, if you want to keep the trust of the fans, that's how you do it. Because then you say, hey, we're listening to you. We hear where you're coming from. Yes, we were wrong about this. Or, hey, here, let's explain this in more detail. Or we were wrong. Like, at least something, right? I think that would be the best way to do it. I know it's hard to give away things for free nowadays, but seeing that the national decks should have been in there already, I don't see it as... I think that should be included in the $60 that people are paying for that game. Harbentho says, it's a sad sign of the times when a new version of Charlie's Angels is so bad that it makes the Diaz, Barrymore, and Lou version look good in comparison. You're right. When those films look like Shakespeare in comparison, that's pretty bad. Captain Wingster says, Odin, people are mad at Game Freak because they promised new content for cutting the Pokemon, but people determined it and found out the models were just taken from the 3DS games, and you can tell. As I was saying before, you can absolutely tell that's what they've done. Bruce says, Alita Battle Angel is a movie that I can pop in anytime and watch. Bruce, I agree with you, good sir. I agree. Micah Martinez says, I'm really glad Charlie's Angels is bombing. You know what they say. You go woke, you go broke. Absolutely. Super I'm of the belief Funko Pops are not an inherently bad thing. They're only bad when they're the only thing you collect and you still call yourself a hardcore geek. I think that's a fair point. I don't quite understand the collection aspect of it. But not everyone agrees or understands why I collect Blu-rays, so I can respect it. Hammer says, "Hi, Odin. I think Willem Dafoe will challenge Joaquin Phoenix for Best Actor. Both are fantastic." I think that you're right. And to be honest, I don't know who I would choose because both of them give such great performances. The movie I prefer is Joker, hands down, because I had a lot of issues with Lighthouse. But performance-wise, they're both great. Catherine Wingster, Odin, did you see the latest South Park episode? I did, and it's fantastic. It deals a lot with the trans athletes nonsense situation that's going on in our country, and it's wonderful. Harbentho says, I like that The Mandalorian has such short episodes. It's quick movie-style pacing without the usual television padding. Each episode is only as long as it needs to be. But you see, that's where I would disagree with you because the last episode was very, very slow, but it was only 27 minutes long. And I think that if you're going to have an episode that short, it should be packed with action. That's what I think. And as I said, I think there's a lot to be said that the first 2 episodes were likely at first one episode. They cut it into 2 to make more episodes. Disney would do that. I'm just saying. Disney would do that to create more episodes. Means more money. Size of Neon's game directors said they have no intentions to fix the national decks with DLC, though since you have Sword, make sure to get the Gigantamaxing Meowth enjoy in my place. Hashtag Game Freak lied. Yes, I did. I got it. I figured out how to access the gifts, and so I got my Meowth. And I don't know why they had to go with Meowth. I feel like they could have offered something a little bit better. For me, a Charmander, because I love Charmander. That'd be great. But they've said that. But if the backlash is bad enough, if people speak with their wallets, and a lot of people are, if they don't make money off of it, that can change someone's mind. It might not be what they're planning right now, but it can happen. John Early, Mel Gibson's scene in the original Lethal Weapon where Martin Riggs is thinking about his dead wife was interesting, especially because you feel his pain. John Early, that's a very random segue. We weren't talking about anything to do with that. But you're right. It's a good movie, though. I like that movie. Sajid Neon says, when it comes to who works with the prettier ladies, our Valks beat Kempia's dolls hands down. Damn right. No one out there beats our Valkyrie. Because not only are our Valkyrie stunning, they can whoop any of those people's asses. Especially with movie knowledge. Alice McCarthy says, put Odin question. You want Odin to read your comment. Be cordial. If you chat jumps, well, McClunky. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alex McCarthy, for that. I appreciate it. And you're right. If you have a comment, put Odin question, all one word, in anywhere in your comment, beginning, middle, end, doesn't matter where. As long as those letters are all in that order, it'll pop up for me as orange, and I'll know you're trying to get my attention. And if the chat jumps on me, there's nothing I can do about it. Stephanie B says, the cricket, that is a cynic. The cricket? Is that what I said? My bad. Super says, put down your stream for homework. No joke, Asgard has become one of my absolute favorite things during the week. Might have to bounce out early, but I got to hang out for a little bit. Well, super thanks, man. That really does mean a lot. I'm glad that you have fun. I have fun. I'm glad that you're having fun as well. Harbentho says, have you seen Spielberg's The Adventures of Tintin? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? And you're looking forward to Peter Jackson's... Are you looking forward to Peter Jackson's sequel? I was not a huge fan of Tintin, to be honest. The effects, to me... I understood it was this new technology, but I didn't think it translated very well to the screen. It just looked like really hard to watch CG effects, and y'all know how I feel about that. So didn't like that one that much. It wasn't terrible, just didn't like it. I'm not looking for, if there's a sequel to it, I'm not looking forward to it. Hammer says, I saw The Irishman last night at my local cinema. Definitely classic Scorsese, really, really good. Yeah, I've heard great things about it. I might have to wait, unfortunately, to watch it on Netflix. But yes, I wish and hope that it is playing in a local cinema because I would love to see that one on the big screen instead. Super Anime Gamer, I was thinking it was more like 150 to 175 million for Ford v Ferrari. If you mean domestically, that sounds about right. I'm talking about the foreign total. Zachariah315, what's going on, good sir? Venom Broly says, remember my words. The Yoda female, they will switch her gender into male by aging her stuff and will become the Yoda we know to make him canon as transgender. They're not going to do that. They could definitely make Baby Yoda into a female. It's not going to be that way. Super. If they did that, they would lose so many subscribers Like, even people that have been fans to Disney at this point would be like, okay, that's a little too much. Super Anime Gamer says, if they're using digital projections in The Mandalorian, how do you think they're filming it, or what could be doing in post-production to make it all blend? It's a great question. Above my pay grade. I'm assuming that it's a lot of very talented people behind the camera in the editing room putting that all together. Peter Hand says, Solo more profitable than Charlie's Angels. You might. It's not going to lose that. The reason why, so let me just put it this way. It's impossible for that to happen because Solo lost around $100 million. This film didn't even cost that much to make, so it is literally impossible, at least total money. Percentage-wise, maybe. There might be a fight going on there, but total money, no. There's no chance. Elwood P. Dowd, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Also, earlier, Disposable Hero, thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. Micah Martinez says, are you going to see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks? I plan on it. I will not be able to see that by myself, though, because my wife would kill me. She wants to see it very badly. Harbor Bentho says, that projection method used for The Mandalorian is sort of like a more advanced version of the rear projection method used in classic movies like King Kong. That's awesome. Sasha Neon says, sequel, nah, no sequel for you. Sequel, Nazi, no sequel for you. No sequel, patui, no sequel for you. In Vickery, given the death of Terminator and Hollywood's preference of recycling old things, what are the odds all parties will kiss and make up in 2020 and a new Mad Max will be greenlit? Oh, Lord. If it's a good Mad Max made by the same director, I would be okay with it, but if it's going in the direction that 2019 has been going and 2020 will likely continue, then yeah, it's going to be bad. Robert Frey, I got my display, but it didn't come with any paperwork. Hopefully you got your cut. Yeah, I don't think, it wouldn't come with paperwork, but I did. There's been a couple of sales that have happened, and I have gotten a commission from that. So thank you very much, good sir, for that one. I can tell you quickly what shows up on my end, because all I find out is what was purchased, is what posters actually sold. And let me see. I have been given credit for, where is it? So there was a medium 1967 2017 that's pending. So I'm guessing, did you get an Alita Battle Angel at the end of October? I got that one listed, and then I've got another one that's pending at this point in time. So let me know. Glad you got it, Robert Frey. Hope you enjoy it. I wish they were easier to work with, but they do good stuff. They do a lot of good stuff. All right, chat jumped on me again. Luckily, no comments were skipped this time. Rob D at 753 in the chat says, best and worst MCU film, not including Captain Marvel. Worst one, in my humble opinion, would be Age of Ultron. I just don't like that movie. It's just not for me. Best, Winter Soldier or Guardians 1. I love both of those films a lot. Guardians has more of a special place in my heart because my wife and I just really connected watching that movie together. And one of the songs was it wasn't our main wedding song, but it was the one that ended our reception because it was very special. So Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Suede. So yeah, best and worst. Alex McCarthy says, now time for Revenge of the Sith. Noelle was adorable. 7 out of 10. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Might have to watch that with the wife then. Rob D says, would you rather let the Tiny Toons loose in Lucasfilm or YouTube headquarters? At this point in time, YouTube headquarters, for sure. Super says, oh yeah, almost forgot. I think within the same week of Edward Norton, Rogan also got Rick Baker, an Oscar-winning makeup artist. He told such awesome stories. That's awesome. That's really cool. Also, I saw this, but Dragon Bricks, if you want to contact me in the chat, put Odin question, all one word. And he says, I think the original plan is they will charge for the Pokemon DLC. And as I said, I could see a world where they do that. However, if they want to keep a fan base, they might want to offer something else. Harbentho, did you hear that Alan Horn mentioned the possibility of editing season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian into a 2-hour movie and releasing it in theaters? They will do that, Hardwick. They absolutely will do that, and it'll actually probably do pretty well. Unless they mess up something majorly with the rest of the season. Super says, do you think the Academy will even acknowledge The Lighthouse or let Dafoe be nominated? Can't tell if the film is their style. It is. It is their style. It is an art house, Oscar Beatty type movie in a lot of ways. They tend to like those darker movies, and I think, I honestly believe that it's definitely going to get some recognition at the Oscars this year. Venabroli says, can you do something for me? Get and watch Sarah Connor's Chronicles the soonest possible. I'm a huge Terminator fan. I'm pretty sure you will like it. I've heard a lot of great things about it. It's on my list of things to get at some point. Slasher Neon says, gift Charmander after beating storyline. So many say Charizard is overrated. Hold on. Slasher Neon says, gift Charmander after beating storyline. You've already beaten the game? Damn, dude. I've beaten the first 3 gyms, and now I'm back in the wild area, about to go to the next area after that. But wait, you get a Charmander once you beat the game? Is that what you're trying to say? That's a long time. I can't wait that long for my Charmander. I love Charizard. Horror Bentho says, I don't think the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian were originally one episode, as they had different directors. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point, Harwick. But what I meant mostly by that was in the writing, because they were both written by Jon Favreau. So what they probably ended up doing was it was one episode, and then Disney came in and said, no, you need to split this into 2 because we need as many episodes as possible. And then they, because it was 2 different things, decided to make 2 different directors. So that's probably what ended up happening. Tina, get out of the chat. Enjoy your time in New Orleans. Enjoy your time off. Go get a beignet. Go get a hand grenade, and go get some chocolate oysters. Sasha Neon says, meanwhile, Campia is a civic who is acidic. Charzy says, there is a Tintin sequel. Love the first one. It was always a movie I watched when I was sick. Well, I'm glad that you liked it. A lot of hearts in the chat. Blake Hamlow says, Baby Yoda is a Terminator. Howard Bentho, what do you think the chances are that the next James Bond movie will be as bad as the new Charlie's Angels? If all of the rumors about the film are to be relieved, I would say there's a very good chance. CAF Productions coming to you with a stream. What's up, CAF Productions? How are you doing, good sir? How are you doing? Super Anime Gamer says, should have been more specific regarding Ford v Ferrari. That's the budget I expected. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, the budget was under $100 million. Harbentho, have you seen Guy Ritchie's The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? It's been a long time since I've seen it, but overall, I had a good time. Tina, Charlie's Angels suck and the Saints rule, but no Cowboys. Bye-bye, guys. And go Cowboys. Tina, I'm okay with that because I have no affiliation with the Saints. I'm okay if they lose. Kessigan C. Brothers, what's your favorite thriller films? Favorite thriller. I would probably go classic Hitchcock and say Psycho is a great thriller. I would also add in The Babadook, which is a little bit more recently. And that's all I can think about right now. There are others, I'm sure, that I'm just forgetting, but my mind is just not all together. Bruce says Guardians 1, I agree. Cav the Wingster says Iron Man 3, I don't care for your love of Shane Black, Odin. That movie was as a sequel was awful. As a Shane Black movie, it was fine. As an Iron Man movie, it was terrible. I agree. It was not a good Iron Man movie. It was a great Shane Black film, and I enjoyed it as a Shane Black movie. Bruce says, Pinky in the Brain or the Animaniacs? Oh, I'm going Pinky in the Brain, but they're both great. Joe Lau says, you love Ghost, don't you? You love Ghost, don't you? The movie Ghost? The movie Ghost is great. Just like in Ghost. Just like in Ghost. Let's see, 70B, Wild Area? So the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield is an area where you can basically run into a lot of higher level Pokemon. There's also raids, which started off in Pokemon Go, and I don't really know how to make those work yet because I think you can only team up with people if they're near you. I was hoping that you could actually interact with people from across the world. I don't think that's a thing yet. I'm still trying to figure out a lot of that stuff. Bruce says Summer Glau is an awesome Terminator. Well, yeah, Summer Glau is fantastic. She has been awesome ever since I've seen her in Firefly and the movie Serenity. I mean, she's fantastic. Captain Wingster says, Odin, who cares about Pokemon? Jedi Fallen Order is out. If only if I had the time and patience for that. Soul Assassin, so how many Pokemon are there now? I've lost count at 150. Hey, I am an original. I only believe in 151 for sure. But I have also been kind of getting into a nostalgia kick, and so I'm like, let me try the new game for once. Let me see what they got to offer. And overall, I'm enjoying it. It's insane, though. The names are so stupid now. They've really become so lazy with it, and really it's just the features like now you get to see the Pokemon, and it's not random an encounter anymore. Now you actually get to see which Pokemon are available, which means you can actually run into the ones that you want, which is a beautiful thing. I do love that as a feature because it means, oh, I want a Vulpix, I'm going to go towards the Vulpix. I don't want another one of these, I'm going to go ahead and avoid it. So it's really the features that are the great part about it. Let us see here. Soul Assassin says, so how many... Okay, got that one. Sia Production says, hand grenade, as in the holy hand grenade of Antioch. Only it's the holy hand grenade of New Orleans. It's a drink in New Orleans. However, though, for me, the 5 worst MCU, Captain Marvel, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Avengers Endgame. Ooh, no. Let me just correct you right there. Thor Ragnarok is a great film. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. It's definitely not one of the worst films. Spider-Man Homecoming is a solid B. Far From Home is a solid B. Endgame is obviously a terrible film. So, yeah, I disagree on those other ones, though. Hyperin, this kind of sounds like a dumb question, considering I watched The Lighthouse, so forgive me, but was Dafoe or Pattinson more of the leading actor? They were really co-leads, but I believe technically Pattinson would be the actual lead character. John Hamster says, do you think that baby girl Yoda is Greta? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. CW Trixie says, just have Freakazoid run wild at YouTube and Disney. That would be fantastic. Let's see. Out of Step with Reality says, I'm curious, how does the movie To Kill a Mockingbird rate in your favorites? Also, the Alita Battle Angel display purchase was mine. Thank you for that. Mine is large with a frame. Yes, okay, awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much for buying it, and I hope that you enjoy it, man. Because I have, of course, I have a smaller one behind me, as well as with my John Wick one as well. So, yeah, they're really high-quality stuff. And To Kill a Mockingbird is a great book. I've seen the movie before as well. It's fascinating to me because that's a book that's getting censored in a lot of high schools because there are versions of that book where they take out any reference to how people used to act, what language they used to use, how people were very racist at one point in history. And so they're taking out the use of these words. And I'm like, no, the kids should see that and read it because they need to be reminded. There was a time in history where this stuff happened. If you try to erase history, all you're doing is helping doom yourself to repeat it in so many ways. Such Neon says, I am still boycotting myself, have Ultra Sun anyway. Okay, very cool, very cool. And again, I respect that. I think that if I hadn't pre-ordered it, I probably would be in the same boat right now because I ended up buying Pokemon X and was playing through that on my DS, and then I got this one. But I wanted to have a Pokemon game on the Switch, and it was the next one available, and it looked like it had a lot of really great features. And I think I listened to too many Nintendo shills, to be honest, because they were really hyping up the game, and I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds great. Peter Hand says, Sunday is a good day to watch Caravan of Courage. Captain Wingster says, Odin Shane Black is great when he makes original concept movies. He sucks when it comes to pre-existing copies like Iron Man and Predator. Well, as I said, I enjoy Iron Man 3, and I'm one of the only persons in the world that actually did not hate the Predator. It's a terrible Predator movie. It's not a Predator movie. Let me just put it that. But it's a Shane Black movie. I had a good time. Bruce says, Sundays are a good day to watch The Last Starfighter or any movie in the stack of movies you've sent. Highly 1000 says, thinking about Ford v Ferrari, have you watched the film Rush? It's about F1 racing between James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl are the actors. I have. And that film I didn't like as much as Ford v Ferrari, but I thoroughly enjoyed the acting in that film. I would say it has about equal acting. Captain Wingster, Jedi Fallen Order is great. It's a cross between Uncharted and Dark Souls. I bought it pre-owned because screw EA. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I've never played those games before. Hardwick Bentho says, I just looked over the list of directors for the episode The Mandalorian and saw that the one being directed by Taika Waititi is the finale. Now I'm more worried than before. Is Taika doing the finale? I'm not worried about that. See, that's because you for some reason hate his work. I think that he's a very great comedic director. I mean, if you've never seen What We Do in the Shadows, it's a hilarious mockumentary about vampires, and Thor Ragnarok is hilarious. You can have your issues about what it does with the Thor character. That's fine. It is funny. It is very, very well paced and very well put together. Korg is an excellent character as well. So I'm going to have to vehemently disagree with you on Taika Waititi, because Taika Waititi is a great director. I hate all the things he's saying about what he's planning to do with the next Thor film, Love and Thunder. All right, I'm concerned about that film because of what he's saying about it. But I'm not going to take away, we can separate the art from the artist. And so far, the art that he's produced has been pretty damn good. So I'm not going to let that sully anything. But yes, just to confirm, Taika Waititi is directing the finale on the 27th, but Jon Favreau is still writing it. And so, yeah, the direction is only one part of it, though, because it sounds to me more that you don't like his writing style. And that's totally fine if that's your opinion. But Jon Favreau is still writing it. So Jon Favreau wrote the first 2 episodes, is writing all but 2 episodes. One is being written and directed by Dave Filoni. The other is being done by Christopher Yost and Rick Famuyiwa, who are directing the episode, or one is a director of the episode, etc. So, yeah, I don't see that as a problem because he's only directing it, and there's really nothing that bad for it. Captain Dean High says, try to get folks to start watching over on DLive to see if we can get the chat to jump over here. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people over on YouTube are not the kind that want to jump over to DLive, sadly. Let's see. CF Production says, when was your most recent visit to Best Buy? Were you still plenty of Captain Marvel steelbooks on the shelves at the time? I bet there still are. I think there still are. I haven't been to Best Buy in a while, ever since I was told you can't film in here. I just have not had a desire to go back. And there also have been a whole lot. The next time I'm going will probably be to pick up my copy of either Joker or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I'm getting a special version of. Rob D, which Harry Potter film would you say is the most faithful to the book and which is the least faithful? I'm not a books person, so I've read the first 3, but not religiously, so I can't say one way or the other. I can tell you my favorite was probably Harry Potter 3. Super Anime Gamer says, I'm surprised you give Homecoming and Far From Home the same grade. Don't like their version of Spider-Man, but Homecoming was great. I hated Far From Home. Well, as I said, I think that if you're going to say this is not the version of Spider-Man that you're used to, that's a fair complaint. I hear you. But as an objective movie, they're fine. They're well done. The effects are good. The writing and the editing and the direction are fine. That's my we have to always be careful, right? Objective reality, subjective thought, right? I think that we always have to be very careful with that, because those are not bad movies. They might be your least favorite, but they're not bad movies. Hybrid says, hey, dude, I'd love to see Joker win Best Picture, but I know that's not happening considering how controversial it was. My pick is Parasite for now. What is yours? I don't care about the Oscars, Hypern. The Oscars have lost any meaning whatsoever. They're a joke. They've been a joke now for several years. I do not care which one wins. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Hardwick says, the Ragnarok is funny at times, but it's incredibly disrespectful to the comic canon. The story is garbage, and the dramatic scenes fall flatter than a scuffle in an earthquake. Well, so you said that it's funny because it is funny at times. It's disrespectful to the comics. Okay, that's a subjective point of view. The story is garbage. Again, what elements of the story are bad? Because it sounds more like you subjectively don't like it. And I'm fine with that. Again, that's your opinion. I can't change your opinion on that. But objectively, it's well put together. I'm sorry, but that's just, you may not like that, but it is. Soul Assassin says, showed my dad your review for Ford v Ferrari, and he said, you're a smart guy. Oh, Soul Assassin. Thank you, man. Thank you. And tell your dad thank you. That's awesome. Stephanie B spelling out Tycho YTT. Hyperin. But honestly, I'm still hyped for the Raven Awards instead of the Oscars. Also, I love the subjectively and objectively ratings on your website. A lot better than IMDb. Thank you, man. Yeah, unfortunately, I've fallen so far behind on the website. It's been so long since I've updated it. It's just because I just have not had a lot of time. Man, what is it with these Turks over on DLive? Always finding my streams and just coming in and spamming. I don't understand it. Anyway, getting back to your comment. So yeah, I wish that I wish I had more hours in the day to really put everything. If I had time to put my all into that website, then I would. Summer is the next time I can think really that I would have enough time to really put in a lot of time to keep it back going up. John Early says, Captain Marvel on Green Lantern's level of badness for me. Can't watch either of them. At least Martin Campbell made Casino Royale and Mask of Zorro and GoldenEye. Green Lantern's much worse. Let's just be objectively speaking, right? Objectively speaking, it is much worse. But yeah, subjectively, I think they're both trash. Doesn't mean that Captain Marvel is objectively good either, but there can be a range there. Alice McCarthy, it's sad that the season 2 finale of Star Wars Rebels was more moving than The Last Jedi, Ahsoka versus Vader. I know, right? Gosh, so good. Sizer says, can we make a gif of IG-11 getting headshot for the next time Taika Waititi puts his foot in his mouth? Yes. I don't know. There's a bunch of people saying something about him killing himself, and I'm like, no, it's clear he gets shot by the Mandalorian. It's clear. And I was hearing that on the show last night. I was trying to get in, but when there's people talking and there's a large group, it's hard to jump in without, being rude. But I'm like, he didn't blow up. He got shot. The Mandalorian shot him. It's very clear that's the case. I don't know if they were talking about something else, but I was like, what are you talking about? Bruce, I wonder if Ahsoka will be the one Dave Filoni directs. Now, that to me, the fact that he's writing the best chance of getting live action Ahsoka Tano outside of a movie would be in that, because he would be writing it and directing it. So let's just hope and pray that if it does happen, it ain't Brie Larson, because that would suck. Sia Production says, next time you go to Best Buy, pick up Steelbooks. I'll laugh if Captain Marvel Steelbooks are still there, but if they're not there, I bet they would have gone to the same places as the Star Wars toys. It's easy to tell, actually. If you go on the Best Buy's website and you check Captain Marvel Steelbooks and they show up, it means that they're still available in stores. Fun fact, they had just reproduced more copies of Alita Battle Angel because people actually wanted to buy more, and so they actually had to put out another batch of those. So I don't know if those are still available or not, but they were not too long ago. Sasha says, who's watching the Oscars? Ravens 2020. Damn right. The girls, Stephanie B, are with Freya. Bruce says, I remember when the Oscars was family night around the TV. Yeah, I know, seriously. Wouldn't it be great for us to go back to that? But oh well. Father Christopher Miller. Hail, Father. Hyper X13 says, sorry if this question is kind of emotional, but what movie made you cry several times? Mine would be either Green Mile or Lord of the Rings. Cry several times? One time, because I could only watch it one time, is actually Marley and Me. I love my dogs. I love dogs in general. The end of that movie had me crying. Fox and the Hound made me cry like a baby as well, even as a kid. Yeah, those are the first two that come to mind. Bruce says, wow, I made a good point. You did make a good point, Bruce. Super Anime Gamer says, I know that's why I like Homecoming. I thought Far From Home was poorly written. Story was okay, but I think Peter left shallow. Mysterio was uninteresting, and the running gags got so tired. Yeah, I think that you could definitely, in comparison, the first one's definitely better written. It's just a better production overall, for sure. But as I said, they're both in that B-level range to me. And let's see, Dormicon Blog says, do you think Disney will eventually retcon that The Mandalorian shot first? Oh, I'm sure it'll happen at some point in the future. All right, well, I'm caught up with the chat, and we're right around time. So we're going to go ahead and give some shout-outs to people tonight, because we had a pretty normal chat. Hope you had a good time. So let me first off shout out while y'all put any last-second comments, which I'll read once I'm finished reading all the names over here. Let me first shout out my November patrons. Animation commentator Brian P., China Man, Dion, Edward Coleman, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ, Jonathan Jarabek, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Patrick Layden, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lanzalato, Theodore Benden, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, and US Dutch Kitty. Hope you all are well, and you are all amazing and beautiful people. And also to my Subscribe Star subscribers, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2Cool99, Darkstar57, Laura Story, Alex McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nevanon G. Adams, and ZK-Man. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel and for being a part of this family. You are all wonderful people. All right. Captain Dean Heiss has been pretty much alone over there tonight. I'm assuming Captain Mr. Roy is still in the chat as well, just has not been very active. But Captain Dean Heiss, thank you so much for sticking around over there. Let us see what's going on. Last minute comments on YouTube. Bruce says, Grave of the Fireflies is the one I can only watch once. Great movie. It's a film I own. I'm holding off on watching it because I've been told it's so sad. John Early says, there's only one moment in Captain Marvel that I liked, and that was when the Stan Lee and Carol Danvers smiled at each other. Peter Hand says, Odin is a smart guy. Next, you tell me that Gary ran a comic book store. Wait, Gary ran a comic book store? No. Jay Stowe says, see you, same bat time, same bat channel. Damn right. And thank you again, Jay Stowe, for those digital codes. Do Re Mi Com blog says, I said this earlier, but Charlie's Angels' bad performance was karma for E. Banks' horrible treatment of the Pitch Perfect sequels. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the first Pitch Perfect was so good. And then Elizabeth Banks took over, and oh my gosh, it was terrible. Because I don't think she directed the first Pitch Perfect. She was just an actor and maybe a producer on it. Let me double check that. Oh no, that was Pitch Perfect too. Yeah, it was first directed by Jason Moore, screenplay by Kay Cannon, and then she produced it. Yeah, because the first Pitch Perfect film was great, and then she got her grubby little hands on it, and it became stupid, and it became terrible. I think that's a very good point. It's a very good point, Doremi. And Grandmaster Yoda says, well, Elizabeth Banks don't have a good time, that's for sure, and that's how we win back films. Lovely. Captain Wingster says, after some of your movie choices, I feel like I don't even know you. Harwood Bentho, a few stories with Ragnarok include all tragic elements either phoned in or played for jokes. That's more opinion. Overdependence on coincidence, like what? And sacrificing character consistency for jokes. All right, character consistency, that is an objective. So out of all those points, I see one real objective point. That you could say that character consistency is not respected for jokes. But anyway, we are ending it, so might have to say that and table that for another time. Hammer says, Thelma Shoemaker is the GOAT editor of every Scorsese film. Not something a toxic man maybe like me would make a declaration of. Yeah, I mean, women do stuff. I don't know whoever said they couldn't. Hybrid says, great choice, Odin. Love Marley and Me. Hachiko is also a really sad dog story. Highly recommend it. Nice. All right. Well, we got to end it there. Matsuine coming in with the last minute super chat says, how's it going, sir? Missed your take on The Mandalorian so far. I'm enjoying it. Well, Matsuine, man, I'm enjoying it so far as well. I'm cautiously optimistic because there's, of course, a very good chance that Disney screws it up at some point. I'm hoping and praying that does not happen. I have high hopes for it. Jon Favreau seems to know what he's doing. As long as Jon Favreau had full control over it, I don't think that we're going to have a problem. So, Mattuine, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. Great way to end the stream talking about The Mandalorian. But you guys are freaking awesome. Seriously. It's great to see films like Charlie's Angels tanking at the box office. $8 million is the projection right now. It could even lose money on no budget. That's insane. You have Joker crossing the $1 billion mark. You have The Mandalorian starting off to a very, very good start. It's going to be hard not having 2 episodes this week, but I'm hoping that the next episode can pick up where it left off and hopefully give us something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more riveting, something a little bit different than what we've gotten so far. Not to say that what we've gotten so far is bad, but I think a change of pace is definitely necessary at this point in time. So, Mandalorian looks like it'd be pretty good. And that's what I had to say about that. You guys are freaking awesome. Please give a shout out to Stephanie B. Stephanie B has been doing a great job tonight working by herself. Tina, I don't know if you're listening or not, but Tina, I hope you enjoy your vacation. Please make sure you don't jump in on Tuesday night because I want you to enjoy that cruise. And everyone else that's here, you guys are freaking awesome. D-Lab people, you stick around. You know that I take care of you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Have a wonderful night. And as always, God bless.